But let's go ahead and jump into it. And part of the description and this presentation, it's going to be a little bit different. So if you've been on with me for review response boot camps or master classes that we put on before, this is going to be kind of coming from a different angle with review response. And the reason that is because review response has significantly evolved over the last couple of years. I would even argue months. And the best parallel that I can bring, and I hope this resonates with some of you, is remember when that technology first came out with the automation when it came to robocalls, and you would call, whether it was a hotel or a company outside of hospitality, and you'd pick up that phone and you heard on the other side, yes, how may I help you? And you knew that that was a robot. And if you're like me, the first thing you're doing is slamming that 0 button or saying operator, operator, and cutting that robot off, because you understand that that robot on the other side, or automation tool on the other side, is just not going to understand what your issue is. And that is happening and spreading into review response. As we see more and more of this AI and automation come into our industry, this is what is happening right now when it comes to review response. So as we dial it in a little bit more into our own industry, the one kind of illustration or visualization that we tell hoteliers when it comes to responding to reviews is, imagine that review is not online, but that's a guest at your front desk. And they came up to you and give you the same exact feedback that they left in a written review, whether it be on TripAdvisor, a third-party site, or Google. And when you're not responding, obviously you're just showing a blank face there, right? They're either giving you compliments or critiquing the hotel experience, and you're not responding. Well, I'm going to take that a step further. And what some hoteliers are now doing, or what we're seeing in the industry, is instead of just responding to that guest in front of them, they're actually kind of leaning over to the side and talking to the next traveler. And they're not focusing and putting the guest first, title of this webinar, right? And prioritizing the guest at hand. And what travelers are doing, consumers are doing now, is they're seeing those types of responses and phasing it out exactly like you would if you were to be on that AI call, or that automation call that you get on the other side of a phone call. So we're going to do a little exercise today. And I'm going to present it to you. So what you're going to see is a real hotel guest review. And then we're going to show how you can prioritize different aspects based on your response. So we're going to write and create a response for the guest who left the review. That's who we should be always putting first. We're going to see what a response to the next traveler looks like. And I want you to see the difference between and feeling that you get reading that response to that next traveler. And then last, we're just going to respond by checking a box or just doing a task, right? Which some hotels still do today. Thank you for your feedback. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's start with the positive online review, right? Everybody loves responding to positive online reviews. So Tyler at your front desk made our stay remarkable. He put a smile on our face. He had exceptional customer service. We appreciate you, and that's why we chose the hotel. 5 stars. We came here for a family gathering for a couple of days as my mom was turning 70, and we enjoyed our stay to the fullest. So let's see what a response looks like if we were to prioritize the next guest, the next traveler, and put the guest that wrote this review second. This is what it would sound like. We're so happy that you enjoyed our 5-star stay at our property with 3 award-winning dining outlets and state-of-the-art hotel features and amenities. There is something here for everyone at our hotel, right? So we're not addressing the specific person that they talked about in the review. We're not addressing that they celebrated a birthday, a milestone, a memory, and experience at the hotel. Instead, what we did was we started talking about ourselves. We started talking about the hotel, prioritizing, like I said in that image at the very beginning, where you lean over and start talking to the next guest. So let's prioritize just a task, a check of the box, right? Thank you for your 5-star review. And this is how we see some hotel or even hotel management companies have their hotels respond this way to positive reviews, because they say, you know what? Don't spend a lot of time on these positive reviews. Focus rather on the negative ones. And this is missing a huge opportunity. And I'll show you what response our professional writers came up with that prioritizes the guests first. So it was such a pleasure to welcome you to our hotel. We're delighted you chose to stay with us while celebrating your mom's big day. Our team works hard to ensure that every guest has an exceptional stay, and we're ecstatic that we exceeded your expectations. You can be sure we'll be sharing your compliments with Tyler. Thank you for your glowing review, and we hope you will join us again soon. So again, if you were that guest that wrote that response, and you heard them talking about their dining outlets or some of the hotel features and amenities instead of the experience that you had, how would that make you feel, right? But this is easy. Again, this is compliments, people giving you a 5-star review. What about when someone has a negative experience? And this is where a lot of hoteliers get tripped up, and we see this. So everything at this hotel was overpriced. Service is a bare minimum, bordering on rude. The only pleasant employees there were the housekeepers. We're seeing a lot more of these. We do a lot of sentiment trends and analysis in our data, our review data, and we're seeing with inflation, with this ADR prices that we're enjoying, but also a staffing shortage, we're seeing more and more people talk negatively about price and talk about service and staff. So how do we address that review in a response if we're talking to the next traveler? Well, we're disappointed you do not enjoy your experience at our hotel. With added features or added extras like free breakfast and unlimited access to our spacious fitness center and beautiful pool, we feel like there's a ton of value for our stay at a property, right? So again, we're not addressing any of the issues that was in the review. Instead, we're talking to that next traveler, trying to convince them and sell them on our stay. We're saddened to hear about your experience. We hope you will give us another chance next time. Just a task, a check of the box. We're putting the guests last when we respond like this. Even the next traveler, this type of response can have almost a negative impact, even more negative impact, coupled and multiplied with the negative review. So, how did our professional response writers curate this post? Thank you for taking the time to share your feedback. Very important here. Any negative, positive, or neutral review, we always want to thank our guests for going out of their way and leaving them feedback to help perfect and give us a blueprint to make better our guest experience. It saddens us to hear your recent stay at our hotel did not meet your expectations. We sincerely apologize for any inconvenience you endured while visiting us. Please be assured our prices are similar to other hotels in our area that are on the same level. Nevertheless, we'll be reiterating to our team the importance of providing top-notch customer service. We never wish for our guests to feel unfulfilled, and we look forward to showing you the experience we know we are capable of next time. So I picked this one specifically because a lot of the times, hotels don't want to feel like they're apologizing all the time in their negative reviews. And although there was an apology in here, we also justified the price within this response. And travelers and guests that are going to be future guests that are reading this might respect that. And, we always want to invite our guests back. I know that's something I've talked about. That is still true today. We always want to make it seem like that stay was the exception and not the rule. So let's move on. All right, average online review. And I know we got a lot of examples, but I just love sharing these because there's so many ways that you can go with this, and hopefully this creates some inspiration for you all. So this is an average online review, really not good, not bad, just okay. I've not found anything specific to appreciate. Guests were in a long line waiting for 20 to 30 minutes in the restaurant for someone to come up and assign them a table. So how do we prioritize the next guest? So thank you for your comments about your stay, and sorry to hear about your experience at our restaurant. We hope the next time you visit our area, you get the opportunity to check out all the incredible attractions and entertainment right at the doorstep of our hotel. So again, not prioritizing anything that the guest had to say in that, and just trying to sell the next guest. The dreaded thank you for your feedback. This should never be an appropriate response unless it's coupled with a very, very descriptive response after that. All right. So how do we prioritize or put the guests first? Well, thank you for taking the time to let us know about your experience while staying with us. Providing the highest level of hospitality is our number one priority. And I sincerely apologize for failing to meet your expectations. I'm sorry for the negative experience with our restaurant and personally will follow up with their leadership to ensure that this is an isolated incident and does not happen again. I hope you choose to stay with us again when your travels bring you back to the area. Love a couple things about here: genuine sincerity, and feeling and emotion. One thing that we talked about at the top of this webinar with the robot and the automation that's going on, the one thing that is lacking is empathy and emotion and feeling. And that was certainly expressed in this response here, and loved hearing that this was an isolated incident and talking about that specifically. Again, indicates to the next traveler, even though we're not prioritizing that next traveler, that this is an exception and not the rule, but we've addressed the concern of the guest in front of us at the time. But we know feedback doesn't always just come in the form of online reviews. Late last year, we announced that we were now responding to internal surveys as well, GSS, Medallia. And this one's interesting. We're going to go a little off pattern, and I'll explain why. So this is the task and check a box, right? Sofa bed area was too tight in the room, no space around it to walk. You can only get on the bed from one side of the sofa. It had a big stain on it. Front office staff was helpful and did give us a different room for the second night, but first night was horrible. Wouldn't be my first choice next time in the city. So again, not a great response, just checking a box here. This is what you're going to find with third-party review response vendors that really aren't prioritizing the guests. So we're going to switch to the guests. This is the professional one, how we put the guests first. Thank you for taking the time to complete our survey. I sincerely regret to learn of your disappointment with your first room and apologize for the inconvenience. It's great to know that our hospitable team was able to promptly move you to a better room, and I'll be sure to share the feedback internally to ensure is addressed promptly. I hope you will give us another opportunity in the future to change your lasting impression. So again, feeling of sincerity there. We have some action items. This wasn't action items that we felt that we needed to share to the public. In fact, there's no way to prioritize the next traveler in this response because another traveler isn't going to see this. This is an internal one-on-one survey. But what we can do is make sure that those action items are taking place, because we don't want this issue to turn into a bigger problem. And maybe next time that review is not just an internal survey, but an external one on a site like TripAdvisor, Google, or a third-party site. So as we wrap up here, one of the worst feelings I had when I was at the front desk and worked in operations was, and I think it's intrinsically as hoteliers, we all know this, we can spot an angry guest in our lobby about 20 yards away from when they first get to the front desk. You can just see by their face, their attitude, their tone, that the way that they're walking, that they're coming here with an issue. And then those dreaded words of, I want to talk to the manager, right? And when I was working at the front desk, I did everything in my power when I would get to the back to try to get my GM or my front desk manager or assistant general manager as much details as possible. This is Miss Sanchez. She's in 202. She's called down a couple times about the noise, and all of that information, just trying to arm my GM or my leader with all of this information so that they can properly respond. So the question I ask here is, if every single negative review, positive review, and average review is someone coming to that front desk, who would you trust to respond? So are you willing to lean on automation tools like ChatGPT or AI to talk to that guest, right? Are you willing to, outsource low-cost third-party vendors, right? And I know what you're probably thinking, Ryan, you guys do review response, aren't you, third-party vendors? And we really don't think of ourselves as that. We think of ourselves as review response partners. And the difference being there is that we take the feedback, and this is real feedback from our hotel partners, and we implement it into our review responses for you. So whether it's mentioning your restaurant by name, including gluten-free breakfast items in the next response, we're taking that real-time feedback and we're implementing it into our responses for our hotel partners. And what that's able to do is when you have a trusted partner that you know is going to be taking care of your guest in that sense, it's going to take you from behind the computer where you're doing all of your review response, and it's truly going to put the guest first and do what you do best as hoteliers, which is interact with the guest. In fact, and according to our study, 98% of our TMG respond and resolve partners say they have more time on their hands to complete other tasks on property, and 81% feel like responding to their hotel, to TMG responding to their hotels, has actually reduced the stress in their position. And one thing I've heard, interviewing some of our hospitality experts is that happy associates make happy guests. So, as I wrap up here, we take a lot of pride in the review response. As you can tell, we're trusted on behalf of some of the world's most elite brands to partner with them in review response. So I hope some of these examples were helpful. I know it's, like I said, it's a little bit different of a take, but it's all about putting that guest first and prioritizing that person right in front of you.